everyone, and welcome to Live Your Bliss Today. This is Kenyette Kilpatrick, and today we have special guest Kim Serafini on the call with us. Kim Serafini is an international entrepreneur, best-selling author, world-class speaker, and creator of Mind Power technology, formerly known as Enriching Visions Plus. Kim's experience in change management, her remarkable ability to engage with the world's top executives, and her passion for helping people improve their lives led to intense personal research on how our mind influences our behaviors and habits and resulted in the development of the Enriching Visions Plus technology, which is a combination of the most powerful techniques proven to help people harness the power of the mind to create everything they want in their lives. Kim is also the founder of the I Am Grateful Club. She is a resource of positivity, gratitude, and empowerment, and loves exploring new cultures and ideas while affectionately sharing her philosophy of positivity, living up to her title as the Queen of Gratitude. On today's call, titled Bouncing Back into Bliss, Using MindPT to Become Resilient and Choose Blissful Thoughts over Stressful Thoughts, you will learn to start from a place of happiness, how you can create new, happier thought habits in just minutes a day by practicing gratitude, how you can empower yourself to prioritize your goals and action them with the MindPT micro practice, how to create a clear and compelling vision of your ideal life with real images and statements, and put yourself in the picture for real impact, and overcome self-limiting beliefs with a consistent immersion in positive, empowering, uplifting, and inspiring images and statements to flood your very being with what you can do. Please join me in welcoming to the call Kim Serafini. Hi, Kim. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, Kenyette. Hello, Kenyette. Thank you so very much. Hello, everybody who's listening. I really appreciate this opportunity, and it's an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to be here. How are you doing?
Oh, wonderful. We're so happy to have you, and I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Well, Kim, why don't we, for those listeners who are new to you, start with perhaps sharing how you came to positive psychology and what's led you to where you are today.
Oh, it's a beautiful question. Thank you. Look, to be honest, I believe that I had a relatively blissful experience and existence as a child, and life was actually fantastic. I had loving parents. There were no addiction issues, no abuse issues. I grew up in a place called Papua New Guinea, which is a tropical country on the equator, north of Australia, kind of near Singapore and Bali. And it was really idyllic, really super beautiful. It was almost like paradise. I then moved to Australia. I went to a very good boarding school for girls. I then went to one of the best and most exquisite private universities in Australia. I graduated from business school, and I went to basically get myself in an awesome job in London, and ended up working in change management, in mergers and acquisitions in the corporate world in both North America and the United Kingdom. Now, to say that I was in the right place at the right time with the right attitude and had the right opportunities and the right mentors is not really an exaggeration of the situation. I really and truly was incredibly blessed. And I worked very, very, very hard, and I had some kinds of introductions to personal development and to self-improvement by that stage, because one of my college classmates and friends, her parents actually introduced us to go and do these workshops over several weeks that were the old titles like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and How to Win Friends and Influence People. And so at a very young age, we're talking, nearly 25, 30 years ago, I was exposed to the kinds of thinking that one would require to be an elite athlete. And that's because that was really my life. Both my brother and I were elite athletes, and I was actually in a relationship. One of my earliest relationships was with an Olympic athlete who won a gold medal. And so I think I always understood that mindset matters. And so it came as a real shock to me in my mid to late 30s when I found that I had very successfully left the corporate world, gone back and studied and qualified as a sports therapist, and built up a business that was international, based out of Australia. And I had effectively created the spa industry treatment called lithotherapy, which is now commonly known as hot stone massage. And we had these exquisite handcrafted marble sculptures that were heated and chilled, and we used them in facials and massages and body treatments. And I had trained nearly 5,000 therapists over the space of 8 to 10 years and had nearly 500 spas and salons as franchisees throughout the Australia, New Zealand, Asia-Pacific region and the Middle East, like in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Oh. Now, to cut a long story short, I was growing very quickly, and I was young, and I didn't really have some strong entrepreneurial mentors at the time, and I made some really terrible business decisions. But what was even more shocking was that at the time I had found myself in a relationship, a long-term relationship with a man who had been cheating on me, and that I discovered in a rather horrific or horrifying or traumatic way. But I also had a health crisis, and I was diagnosed with some cancerous cells in my uterus. And so it was almost like I was being attacked on all fronts, physically with my health and emotionally with my relationships, and then financially with my business. And so because I'm a great believer in, and I've studied a lot and I've learned a lot about quantum physics and the law of attraction, and the spa industry actually did expose me to lots of energy healers and spiritual people, I started to come to grips with the fact that I was totally accountable and responsible for the experiences that I was having right then and there, and it was anything but pleasurable. In fact, I was angry and disappointed and anxious and frustrated, and I was feeling like a failure, and I needed to actually learn much more about how I was going to change myself, rather than having a professional changing thousands of people in a corporate organization. Here I was with me in my own life, and I needed to radically, dramatically, quickly change. And I kind of wanted that change to be more effortless and beautiful and simple rather than super painful. So that's part of my journey. Now we're 5 to 10 years on, and I'm really proud to say that we have one of the most outstanding companies in the industry. What's the industry? That's really positive psychology, neuroscience, and personal development and self-improvement in this entire world that is health and well-being, fitness and beauty, yoga and spirituality. So we've started to create a technology that allows change to be incredibly effortless, beautiful, a lovely experience, but also very powerful, very meaningful. And for me, given who I have been for the last 20, 30 years in my career and also in my businesses, for me it's very important to be associated and committed to scientific, proven, reputable, reasonable, logical aspects to change, as well as embracing the spirituality. So that's kind of my story. That's kind of who I am.
Well, that is so interesting. And I was going to ask you, from what you were mentioning, why do you think so many people who aren't living their best lives or their most blissful lives talk themselves out of it instead of actually just trying to do it?
Oh, that's an incredibly interesting question. Why is it so difficult for us to change, and why do we resist it? What's the story there? I'll give you a tiny little bit of the science behind the struggle and a very high-level explanation of the 4 main drivers that we have as human beings that keep the status quo. So let's just face a couple of quite serious facts here. You and I, we're human. We're divine, gorgeous beings. We are really trying to do the best that we can do. And we're really just made the way that we're made. And it's been over 1 billion years that we have evolved as human beings. And we have these internal drivers, external drivers, anatomical drivers, and significance drivers that keep us the way that we are. And so what I'm really saying is we have a primal instinct for safety. We're very hardwired for safety. Our instinct as human beings is based on the fear center in our brain called the amygdala. And we find safety in the familiar, that which we know, we're familiar with, we're more comfortable with. It's better the devil you know. So we always want to avoid pain, and we're constantly scanning for what feels normal. And our past and our present memories are familiar, and they feel safer to us than the unknown and uncertain future. Like there's ambiguity and uncertainty in that which we don't yet know. Now let's just get for real. When we want to make a change, we as human beings are actually acknowledging that in some way, shape, or form we want to change what is normal and familiar. We want to go towards that which is unknown, which we might actually fantasize about, or it might be in our dreams. But the truth is it's uncertain and it's unfamiliar, right? So along with our internal drivers, we have an external driver that actually really shapes us. And we automatically watch and mimic and reflect and reinforce and integrate that which we see around us. It's a survival mechanism. And one of the interesting aspects of that is that we have mirror neurons. And our mirror neurons are in a part of our brain that's kind of underneath. Imagine as if you were a beautiful little angel and you actually had some area on your brain where your halo would come out of. Well, underneath there is where your mirror neurons are. Or if you were a little devil, it would be where your horns grow. I shouldn't use those two funny examples, but anyway, I kind of think it's underneath where you would imagine if you were a cow, it's where your horns would grow. Or if you were a deer, it's where your horns would grow. Underneath there is where your mirror neurons are. And your mirror neurons are extraordinary. They're very, 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 very powerful. And you actually seriously watch and mimic and reflect and reinforce and integrate that which you see around you. So if you want to make changes, you have to change what it is that you see. That is one of the most fundamental lessons that I can leave you with in this, hour that we have together. Now, there are another two drivers I'll quickly go over. One is an anatomical driver. It's your prefrontal cortex in your brain. And so until we are about 25 years of age, we're still developing. And we're judging and editing after we've actually developed that part of our brain. So until then, we actually adopt all sorts of thinking without judging and editing it. And then later we have this judgment factor, this critical editor in our prefrontal cortex. So when we try to absorb some new ideas that we would need in order to actually change the trajectory of our lives, quite frankly, we have to get through the prefrontal cortex, which has a habitual way of thinking that began when we were young. See, when we were young, we had no filter to critically think. And so therefore we absorbed everything and we believed it all. And so when we want to change, do you know what we have to actually assume? Is that in some way, shape or form, we literally have to adopt a new way of thinking, and we have to actually have that new way of thinking bypass that part of us that judges and criticizes and is cynical and skeptical and edits. Now, what this is all linked to is actually the thing that I think is the hardest part. It's the significance driver. Now, because we're human beings, we have an insatiable need to be right. And we are so desperate to be right about, our righteousness because it fuels our worthiness and importance. And being right actually fires off dopamine, which is a beautiful chemical within our brain. It's a hormone. And it fires off dopamine in the brain, and it's one of the feel-good neurochemicals. It's a bit like when we go out for a run and we actually experience these endorphins. Quite frankly, endorphins are what makes us feel good. And we as human beings will actually do whatever we need to do in order for us to feel good and to avoid pain. And so changing anything about our lives or about ourselves, do you know what? That means we would have to admit that we were wrong. Even if it's only slightly wrong, we would actually have to admit that in some way, shape or form, an aspect of ourselves, our personalities, our identity, our character, our memories, our beliefs, we'd have to actually admit that we were wrong. And we don't like doing that because we're all driven by the significance driver. And so we resist any idea to change, no matter how logical or reasonable or passionate we are, because we need to identity reinforce. Now, what I mean by that is we're just built to maintain our identity, it's who we think we are. And so sometimes that keeps us, or in most times it keeps us from exploring other ways as viable options. The best thing for everybody to know right here and right now is that you can actually use those same drivers in the opposite way to actually be of benefit to you so that they're useful and not harmful. They can actually be empowering instead of disempowering. And that's what I've actually devoted the last 5 years of my life to do, is take all of those internal, external, anatomical and significance drivers and figure out, okay, so how do we actually work with them? What could we do? And is there some kind of really advanced technology that we could use that could create some game changers and actually make change easier, faster, more simple, more graceful?
Well, yeah, you're
It's a
right.
very long answer.
And I thank you for that thorough answer as well. You know, oftentimes we get comfortable in our lives and things feel stable and we get in a comfort zone, and even if you want to push through that comfort zone, it becomes harder, and you can cognitively think that this is what I want, and you can say consciously this is what I want, but you choose things that are not what you are clearly saying that you want. So how important is it to create a clear and compelling mental image of how we want our lives to be?
Kenyette, and for everybody else on the line, it is absolutely paramount. It's essential. It's critical. It's necessary. And it can actually be delicious as an experience. It can actually be joyful, creating what is the ideal for you and thinking about what does actually make you happy. And I'm going to venture to say that most of us, because we're human beings, we all ultimately want some time freedom. We would love to be able to choose to do that which we want to do with our own time and with the people that we love. We usually want to travel some more. We usually want to spend some more time with our families. We usually want to take care of ourselves. We want a massage or a facial, or we want to be able to sleep in on a Sunday. It's not really the grand things that we think that we want and need. It's the simple things. And that is where we can find some true peace, and that does lead to bliss. And I have to say the research that we've been involved in recently in the field of positive psychology and neuroscience absolutely indicates this. This is absolutely one of your priorities. You must do what you need to do to experience bliss, to be happy. Because when you are in this very peaceful, blissful, happy place, in your brain and in your body, there are a couple of things that happen. And one of those things is that you actually have an incredible new chemical cocktail going off in your brain that produces all of these fantastic reactions, and you have better thinking. You have more creative thinking. There's a very famous researcher, her name's Dr. Barbara Fredrickson, and she created the broaden and build theory. And what she says is when you're experiencing positive emotions, your brain literally functions a whole heap better, and you have much better quality thinking. And therefore, you have the ability to create solutions, and you can be more solutions-oriented thinking and more creative in that process. And the only way to get there is to experience the positive emotions to begin with, to feel happier and more peaceful and blissful. And there are a couple of things that you can do in order to make that be. You can start, for example, by really thinking about who you are grateful for and why. Who are you really grateful for and why are you grateful for them? You could go one step further, and the research tells you that it's very important to actually send thank you notes. If for every single day for the next 21 days you actually sent a thank you note and you told somebody that you appreciated them and you explained to them why and how, you would fundamentally change the trajectory of your life forever. That's actually scientific fact. There's been lots of research done around this. So, yes, you can actually think about who you're grateful for and how and why and share that with them. You can also think about what you're grateful for and why, and you can actually write that down in your gratitude journal. But the important thing is that you experience gratitude. You feel appreciation and thankfulness. And one of the reasons why you want to do that is for the health benefits, because did you know that your brain actually does function a whole heap better when you're experiencing gratitude? And indeed, you actually absorb more oxygen from your circulation. So your actual your blood system carries oxygen, and you absorb more oxygen, and it's actually healthier for your cells and your organs and your muscles and every other structure in your body when you actually experience more gratitude. That is an absolute fact. You produce more collagen, and that's going to allow more elasticity in your muscles, and in fact, it's going to make you look younger as well. So there are these positive emotions that have incredible I suppose, effects and impacts that you haven't even maybe heard of or you don't remember on a daily basis. So one of the things, of course, that I would suggest that you do is you really tap into feeling appreciative and thankful and grateful. That's a real key. I could give you another couple of things that you could do, but ultimately what is important is that you feel happy, that you feel joyful, that you feel like that you can actually transfer your enthusiasm for life, that you can be self-loving, and that you can be compassionate and kind, and that you can be patient and generous with people. So what shall we do, Kenyette? Tell me, would you like me to explain a couple of the little things that are important and, some of the ways that we can create change?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. All right, well, you can play with your mirror neurons, okay? So, I said that we actually use our eyes, and the backs of our eyes are actually a part of our brain. So we need to see different things. Instead of focusing on becoming the average of the 5 people that you spend the most amount of time with, you could literally spend time here in Telesummit, and that's spending time with, leaders of the world who are thought leaders, who are speakers and authors and spiritual guides and healers. So that's actually a great thing to be doing.
Right.
But you need to be seeing smiles. Now, I'll explain to you, you need to be seeing lots and lots and lots of smiles. And we've built that into the technology that we're going to share a little bit more about very soon. But you need to be seeing hundreds, if not thousands, of a very particular type of smile that we've been able to research scientifically. And they're called a Duchenne smile. And they're genuine, sincere, authentic smiles. Now, what happens when your brain actually recognizes that you're looking at a smile is it triggers your memories of times when you have smiled, and you start to reproduce all of the fantastic chemicals in your brain and in your body, so the hormones. Your endocrine system kicks into gear, and it starts to actually produce the healthy experiences that were related to those smiles beforehand. But I'll tell you the other extraordinary part about neuroscience research and what we understand. When your eyes see other people smiling, in an interesting way, you don't know whether you're looking at a smile or whether your body is experiencing a smile, whether you've actually got a smile, where you're being, in this state of happiness. And so there's this incredible trick, I suppose. Your brain is actually going to start producing all of the flow-on effects of you smiling, irrespective of whether you're physically doing so yourself. But you need to see hundreds of Duchenne smiles in order for that to be the case. You don't need to be around happy people in order for you to be happy. You do not need to be around happy people in order for you to experience the health and the physical and the financial and the mental benefits of being happy. You can literally put yourself in front of something that shows your eyes hundreds of thousands of really good quality smiles. Mm-hmm. So I would say that absolutely what you also need to do is you need to bypass the editor, the conscious critical judgment factor of your mind that takes you out of the game of change. Now, one of the ways that you can do that is by listening to binaural beats, so special type of music, meditating, being in a certain brainwave. The technology that we have in terms of mind power technology, it actually does physically, because of the speed at which you can actually experience, we bypass the conscious critical editor. Now, the other thing is that you actually do need to prove yourself right in a completely different way. So you need to play with that significant driver. You need to change your I am. So I'll explain this super quickly for you. Let's just say we have an I am smart statement. So I am smart means that if I adopt that as a new belief, and you said to me, so Kenyette says, Ken, you are smart. do you know, because I admire and respect and like Kenyette, I'm actually going to believe the way that she says you are smart more than I'm going to believe if I say to myself I am smart. So in order for us to change the way that we believe the world is and we are, we actually need both I ams and you are. But if we really want to supercharge it, we need to build in the gratitude piece as well. So we need to go, you know what, thank you for helping me to feel smart. Thank you for helping me to be smart. Thank you for helping me to improve my knowledge and allow me to use it so that I can show people how smart I am, or I can use my intelligence for the benefit of others. I can recognize and appreciate it as a strength. Now, what's fascinating is that we as human beings, when we have these identities that are made up of lots of I ams, like hundreds and hundreds of different I ams, like I am smart, I am creative, I am beautiful, I am wonderful, I am kind, I am compassionate, I am loving, I am patient, I am reliable, all of our I ams. Do you know what? Our brains go off in search of evidence to actually prove ourselves right, because we like to be right, remember. We need to actually be right. And so what will happen is we stack evidence just to prove how smart we are. And then we reinforce this belief, I am smart. So what you would need to do in order to actually change yourself and your circumstances and your situation and your opportunities in life is you would actually need to change lots of the I ams that you have. You can't be saying to yourself, I am a fool, and think that your brain's not going to go off in search of all of the evidence to prove to you how foolish you are, and then think that you're going to have different outcomes in life. It's just not the way that it works. So that's essentially some of my little top pieces.
Well, Kim, I have a question from Sarah in Los Angeles, and she wants to know, is MindPT different from Affirmations, or is it similar?
I would say that Affirmations are absolutely fantastic, Yes, you need to be saying them out loud so that your ears can actually hear them. Do you know, funnily enough, we actually believe more that which we hear. Of course, as children, we adopted our identities, our beliefs about ourselves because of what people said to us or what people showed us. So affirmations are very, very powerful, but I have to tell you, it's like 1/100th of what you actually need in order to make changes. Not only do you need great affirmations, they need to be actually written as self-fulfilling prophecies. They need to be in the positive. And lots of people don't actually know how to write the best affirmations for themselves. Because interestingly enough, if you knew what you needed to change, you probably would have changed already. And if you knew the exact right affirmations that you need, you probably would have been repeating those affirmations to yourself already. One of the issues with actually reading affirmations or saying affirmations is that unless you're actually seeing them flash in front of your eyes really quickly, you're probably not bypassing that conscious critical editor, that part of your brain that's actually resisting that new affirmation. Now, interestingly enough, if you don't couple that with, let's just say that there's a certain ratio, you would need a certain number of affirmations coupled with a certain number of images on, say, a vision board. Now, we have about 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day. And considering we have that many thoughts a day, I kind of want you to think about how many thoughts is that a week, and how many thoughts is that a month, and how many thoughts is that a year. And if you've actually been thinking the same kind of way for the last 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years that have brought about the results of your life right now, quite frankly, that's millions and millions and millions of disempowering, negative, unhelpful thoughts that you've been having about yourself and life and your circumstances and situations and other people. And so it's going to take a lot for you to be able to actually change that. So I want you to imagine like there's this big Pacific Ocean between you and me, maybe if you're in the United States and I'm here in Australia, and imagine that the huge Pacific Ocean is all blue. Well, if you want to change that water to pink, you're going to have to pour an enormous amount of pink food dye into that water, and you're going to have to do that for quite a long time in order to change the quality, the flavor, the look and the feel of that water. And I kind of think the blue is like the blue negative, disempowering, and the pink is like pink positive, empowering. And so let's just think about it. If you really want to change yourself at your core and all the cells in your body and your vibration and who you're being so that you attract lots of different, then quite frankly, you need lots of pink. You need lots of positive, which means you're going to need thousands of very high vibration, exquisite, stunning images. And that's actually what we've built into what we do. But those images have to actually literally interrupt your habitual ways of being So we've actually created a technology called Mind Power Technology, and we have created these in particular activities that you do, which are called sessions. It's almost like you're going and doing a training session with your personal fitness trainer. And in essence, that personal fitness trainer is going to put you through a session. Well, a MindPT session is what I'd really love to be explaining to you that we have on offer for you, and we actually have a beautiful gift. So you can actually do this for free, and it's something that Kenyette and I have actually organised together with the people that work with us and for us and through us and for all of you. But in essence, what you're actually going to see is not just any images. It's very carefully curated, very specifically selected images that have been chosen because we understand about 17 different elements of the very best findings in positive psychology and neuroscience, and we've spent a long time and lots of trial and error and lots of really great success stories from, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands, in fact, tens of thousands of members now. And so we've been able to kind of bake all the positive psychology and neuroscience into this particular activity, this session. Does that answer the question?
It does, yes. And I was going to mention, you know, with doing this, it just feels so refreshing because when you're looking at television, a lot of times you're seeing a lot of negative or the worst things that people have to offer. Or if you're watching movies, a lot of times they're so violent and it's just overwhelming. And I know that your mind can't tell the difference between something that is real or something that is made up. It sees it and it synthesizes it as real. And so to be able to see smiling faces, something that is good for you, to be able to actually see these affirmations over and over again with images behind them, it sticks to your psyche the same way that perhaps something that you've seen that you're not interested in happening in or recreating in your life would do. So I just find this is so wonderful that you have organized all of this, and thank you so much for even the special offer we'll talk about a little later on too. But I wanted to ask you before we moved into that, how do our moods affect our behaviors and choices?
Well, in essence, what actually happens with the broaden and build theory research is that it shows when we are feeling a very positive emotion, we're actually much more productive. We take more inspired actions. We actually start to think about all sorts of different kinds of possibilities. We actually can create possibility thinking. And we can be stimulated by lots of out-of-the-box kinds of suggestions. And so when one does a MindPT session, what you're watching is 1,000 images that you wouldn't ordinarily choose for yourself, and that's part of what is positively influencing you. It's creating new neural connections in a new, vibrant way so that you can actually create some different kinds of potentials. Now, that's actually improved when you're experiencing a really, I would say, an empowering, higher level, uplifting type of emotions, love, compassion, gratitude. When you're pursuing work that is your passion and you're feeling purposeful, you're going to be in a state that's actually going to allow you to make better quality decisions. Now, interestingly enough, we've done a fair bit of research with respect to watching MindPT, and we know that if you do one of these sessions for 3 minutes, you actually have a improvement in your mood and your energy levels up to 6 to 8 hours later. And so we've done this incredible research. So I will probably take this chance to actually share with you. We were very, very lucky to connect with an amazing man by the name of Sean Achor. And he became very famous from Harvard University because of a speech that he did, a TED Talk. And it became one of the most successful of all time for everybody in the world. So if you go and you look at the top 20 TED Talks of all time, Sean's is there. And he's very much about positive psychology, and his father was an incredible early pioneer in neuroscience. His brother-in-law was a neuroscientist at Harvard whilst he was actually studying there. And Sean has his master's degree in divinity and in Christianity and Buddhism. He's an extraordinary human being. He's a really, really lovely man. He's incredibly wise, and he's very, very funny. Anyway, Sean for me is almost like a guru or an idol or he's certainly an icon in social sciences research. And he's married to an extraordinary woman. Her name's Michelle Galen, and she's also an incredible researcher. And Sean and Michelle and I got to be able to know each other and work with each other, and they were doing some research with us at MindPT. And what they found was some rather extraordinary outcomes. In other words, when you do a session and you're learning some new materials, then you're actually going to have your implicit and your explicit memory improved, as well as an improvement in your mood and energy levels. And you're actually going to have some unconscious learning occur. So there are some very, very, very exciting ramifications and consequences and implications of the research that we've been doing. And of course, it's leading into a lot more research. So we're actually finding out. So what happens when you watch several different sessions from several different thought leaders, like let's just say you watch one from me and one from Kenyette, and if you do 3 minutes a day, 3 times a day, what's the potential for us? So it's really super exciting what we're doing, but what I can tell you is that you absolutely need to do whatever it is that you can do to put yourself in a better mood, feeling a higher vibrational frequency, because the reality is that there are really tangible benefits in terms of your health and your thinking and the outcomes for the way that you learn. You actually learn more faster, you actually retain it for longer, you're more likely to use it. I mean, there's lots of really amazing aspects to what we're doing.
Well, Kim, can you tell us how easy it is to create empowering and positive habits that are aligned to our goals?
Well, first of all, in order to create a new habit, I believe that you need to do something and positively reinforce that something for at least a minimum of 100 days. Now, there's a lot of research out there that says 21 days, but quite frankly, it's not as conclusive as the results from 100 days. Mm-hmm. And so you need to do something. You need to usually have an accountability partner. We actually have a Facebook community, and we call it the MindPT World Challenge. And the reason why we do that is because we know that we are much more likely to develop a habit if we have accountability buddies, if we have people who help us to be responsible, because we're human, right? So we actually need some assistance, and we need some cheerleaders on our side and some supporters. You also need to be able to do things that are actually pleasurable. And so you can change habits so long as you can be really focused on the outcomes, and they're really very, very strongly tied to your why. You need to have a compelling reason. The rationale for doing what you need to do needs to be compelling. It's why a lot of people don't give up smoking until they've actually had a heart attack, because quite frankly, the reasons were not compelling enough beforehand. The other thing is that in order to create a great habit, you actually need for there to be some real evidence of improvement super quickly. So a lot of what we've done in terms of the technology is it's evident to you within one session that's just 3 minutes in the morning that you'll actually feel a positive effect, right? Mm-hmm. The impact is instant. And if you don't get positive reinforcement really, really quickly when you're trying to make changes, it's almost physically impossible to make those changes. No matter how badly you think that you want those changes, quite frankly, our monkey minds get the better of us.
Right. Well, I wanted to just share a little bit about my experience with the sessions that I've had a chance to look through and observe and just immerse myself into them. And I can always tell I'm more focused after I have seen them, but also it just feels like that it just feels like everything is okay, and that I'm able to move forward. And I can go from being kind of jittery, and then I just take that time to look at one session, and I can tell that the music is keeping me just looking, and if you speed it up or slow it down, it affects you in different ways, and I just absolutely love that, Kim. But I wanted to ask you this last question, and then maybe we can allow the audience to actually see the session that was created for the Live Your Bliss Today community, and it's how realistic is it to expect someone to change their beliefs people are busy. Many times the information goes in one ear and out the other. It's hard to find time to work on yourselves. And I know that athletes are the best people to ask for this because they have trained themselves to be diligent. But how realistic is it for someone to expect to change their beliefs? Kim, are you still there?
Absolutely. Do you know,
Okay.
I was just about to blurt out it's like 1,000%, but that sounds like exaggeration. I'm telling you it's 100% realistic for you to expect to be able to produce radical, dramatic, fast change for you in this lifetime on this planet now.
Okay.
We have made such extraordinary advances in understanding how we can produce results for ourselves from the studies in social sciences like positive psychology and certainly from the research in neuroscience. And the technological advances that we are privy to means that seriously there's a revolution at stake here. And we're really a part of it. We absolutely can help people to change completely, and we can do it through MindPT sessions. And we now know that because we've scientifically proven it. And we've got tens of thousands of members, and we've certainly got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them who have reported some really significant changes and some very subtle changes. We've got people who were traumatized in Eastern Europe in war atrocities, who haven't been able to sleep for 20 or 30 or 40 years, who, quite frankly, have been completely and utterly alleviated of their mental and emotional pain and are actually sleeping soundly and safely now. We've got people who have dramatically changed the outcomes of all sorts of lawsuits or bankruptcy cases or divorce situations. We've had people who've had, disastrous relationship after disastrous relationship, finding their true love. Seriously, we know that human beings can change. It's not easy. It's actually very, very, very hard unless you actually use some resources at your fingertips, which you have with MindPT. And so it's as simple as this, and I'm going to explain to everybody how you can actually access the gift at the end. But I want you to understand that what we're actually talking about is we're talking about an app that you open up or you go online to a website and you literally watch. You watch this thing that we call a MindPT session. So MindPT is a really powerful mindset app, and it helps you to achieve greater happiness and accelerated success within the scope of your everyday life. It's simple and it's engaging and it enables you, and you can stay on track every day with the goals that you've set for yourself, and you will actually become significantly faster and it will become easier for you to achieve the goals that you set for yourself. What you do is you watch something that's very similar to, I want you to imagine it's like 1,000 flashcards in front of you that are flickering, and you can slow it down so that you can actually see them all and you can emotionally engage with them, which is what I advise you to do. That's what I suggest. Or you can speed it up and you can watch 1,000 frames in about a couple of minutes.
Okay.
When you go fast, it bypasses the conscious critical factor. Now, every single time you press play on one of these sessions, it reshuffles the deck of cards. Imagine. It's almost like a PowerPoint presentation that is having an adrenaline rush. I don't really know how to describe it other than that, but I imagine there's 1,000 frames and they get reshuffled like cards in a deck. And every single time you watch it, what you're actually going to see is you're going to see different words preceded and followed by different images, spectacular, stunning images. Every single one of those images, particularly of the ones of it being in nature, like spectacular sceneries, they're in there because we actually know of some science about how we actually produce cytokines, which are the proteins in the autoimmune functioning. So if you want to improve your immunity, you should actually go outdoors and spend some time in nature, or you should go to a museum and art gallery and you should experience something that's really inspiring or inspiring, like AWE, inspiring. Anyway, so what I'm talking about with MindPT and doing a session is that you sit down and you watch one of these things, and every single time you watch it, it's reshuffled the deck, and so you'll never see the same number of words followed by the same types of images, you'll actually literally produce new possibility thinking, new creative thinking. Will rewire your neural nets. It's actually fascinating with the way that we do this. And it's so simple. It seems really, really, really too simple, but it's very, very sophisticated behind the scenes. Now, having said that, I do have to say this. We've worked with lots of New York Times bestselling authors like Christine Carlson, who wrote Don't Sweat the Small Stuff with her husband and sold 25 million copies. We've worked with Jack Canfield, who's the very famous Chicken Soup for the Soul and the Success Principles author. And we've worked with about 150 others just like them. Because here's the fascinating thing. If I'm going to change my identity and my beliefs and I really want to change some of the outcomes in life, then I'm going to actually need some really good role models and guides and teachers, and I want to absorb their thoughts. And so I want to learn from them, and the easiest way to be able to do that is to watch their MindPT session. And so in essence, what we've done is we've synthesized, we've kind of compressed and condensed the very, very best messages from some of these incredible bodies of work or courses, and we've created individual MindPT sessions. And each one of them, if you watch them on speed 1, takes around about 45 minutes to an hour. But on speed 10, it actually literally takes less than 3 minutes. And so you could watch, in essence, 10 summaries of textbooks in 3 minutes each, 30 minutes a day. Or you could just watch 3 minutes a day. So we've got effects that are occurring for people who watch 1 session a day, 3 sessions a day. It just depends upon what you want to achieve in your life and why and how, you know. And so we've actually put together the very best thinking from this Telesummit and from Kenyette's advice and coaching and mentoring that she would want to be able to help you as a listener to absorb. And so her session is called Cheers. And it's really all of the main messages being reinforced through this MindPT session. Do you want to talk a little bit about your intention behind that, Kenyette?
I do, actually, and it's cheers to the very best. And I wanted to create a session that would help people to understand that your life is not what you see right in front of you. It's more about possibilities, and the intention even behind the Telesummit is about reminding you that your life is more than the problems and the issues that you're experiencing. And if you can kind of just look beyond that, and like Kim has mentioned several times, getting to that feeling space of possibilities and moving towards the things that make you feel blissful, then you can start improving your life. You can start taking action steps that will actually help you move forward with that. And so that was really, I wanted to show diversity. I wanted to show people smiling. I wanted to show nature scenes, and I wanted all of the affirmations to be something that makes you feel good about your life and feel good about yourself, that you are moving ahead and you're moving forward, no matter what obstacles you're having to deal with, not focusing on those so much, but just trying to be more positive in your thinking and in your actions and in how you speak about things in your life. So that was the main intention behind that. And I think
it's a beautiful session.
Did a wonderful job. They did. Thank you so much for that. I mean, and they were so easy to work with as well. So I just felt supported through the entire system.
Well, you're an exceptional partner for us. You're a wonderful example of a wonderful client, and as most people might not know who are listening, you know, we publish sessions for lots of life coaches and fitness trainers and New York Times bestselling authors and people who own beauty salons and natural therapy clinics and nutrition consulting practices and chiropractors and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we love what we do. And every so often we come across some extraordinary, exquisite, amazing, fabulous people like you, and we create really awesome sessions like yours. And so I'm very happy that we figured out a way and done a gorgeous deal, I think, in order to gift your MindPT session. So if anybody was to go to mindpt.com and actually look in our store, they would see that, you know, we sell these MindPT sessions for $47 each. Mm-hmm. And really, it's got all of the neuroscience and positive psychology and affirmations and vision board aspects kind of baked into them, and it's a real leading edge technology. And I'm very proud that we've been able to scientifically prove with the research that we've created something outstanding. And so we do have a golden opportunity for everybody who's listening. I'm very happy to go through that very quickly and then afterwards actually tell people exactly how they can get the gift. Is that okay with you, Kenyette?
That would be perfect, because I was wondering how we were going to do this, and yes, that would be wonderful.
Alrighty, so as I was saying, we actually produce sessions for different authors. Now, I want you to imagine, as I was explaining, Christine Carlson and Jack Canfield, there are other authors that we work with, and of course, I'm a very well-known best-selling author and speaker myself, and so we created these particular sessions for the people here listening, and we've actually bundled them together as if you're getting a wholesale opportunity, a bulk buying opportunity. And so we put together one support kit, and it has several sessions in it. We call it the Health and Wellness Support Kit, and we have a healing and harmony session by the very famous musician and energy healer Mark Romero. We have one called Holistic Bliss. There's a very successful magazine called Holistic Bliss magazine in the Asia Pacific region, and the editor, Vanessa Finnegan, is a psychologist, and she created an incredible session with us called Holistic Bliss. There is another one, a very famous woman in cookbooks and a businesswoman, her name's Annette Sim, and we created a fabulous session called Simply Weight Loss with her. And there are two others, one by Dr. Kirsten Balch on boosting immunity and one by me called Wonderful Wellness. And so there are 5 sessions there for you, and we've actually put them together in that support kit. But interestingly enough, we have lots of other content sessions that are in the health and wellness category. And so what we decided to do was create 2 support kits. And our second support kit actually has another 5 sessions in it. There's one called Explosive Energy, one called Fabulously Fit, one called Nutritional Nurturing, one called The Power of Perseverance, which is by an endurance athlete named Yamila Gorman. And Yamila really understands the mindset that you need to ride 100 kilometers or miles and actually win. And then there's this incredible session called Sexy Younger You by a very famous nutrition specialist, Robin Nielsen, and Dr. Annika Becker, and she's an incredible obstetrician and gynecologist. Anyway, so we created 2 support kits for health and wellness, and that's actually 10 sessions. But instead of putting those together and actually selling them to you at $47 each or $470 for those 10 sessions in those 2 support kits, we decided to do something even better. And we added another 4 support kits. 2 support kits on success and financial freedom, and then a 5th support kit on relaxing and keeping calm and dealing with anxiety, and a final support kit on relationship bliss. And in every single one of these support kits, we have 5 sessions. So there are 30 sessions in total, 30 sessions in total. And that's like you having the very best thought leaders in lots of different categories for you to be able to absorb the wisdom and apply the insights and have this incredible transformation that's really simple and easy and fast. Now, the entire value of all of those support kits is actually over $1,400.
Right.
Now,
that's
having said that, yeah, it's incredible. Remember I told you that Sean Acor had an amazingly famous wife named Michelle Gillen, and she's written a New York Times bestseller called Broadcasting Happiness. Well, her session is actually included in the Relationship Bliss support kit. But also in there is this, amazing one called Love on Purpose by Orna and Matthew Walters. And we've got an event coming up very soon, and they're actually speaking at our event in Southern California. They're amazing leaders. Orna and Matthew Walters do incredible work around helping you to bring in your soulmate, really. Mm-hmm. Of course, Christine Carlson's Don't Sweat the Small Stuff is included in our Relax and Keep Calm support kit, and there are some others. Dina Proctor is very famous for her 3x3 meditation. So there is a session there called Peace and Productivity. Now, of course, lots of people actually have anxiety over their money issues, their financial issues, their wealth issues. So EFT expert Carol Look, who's one of the superstars of Nick Ortner's The Tapping Summit, she has an incredible session called Attracting Abundance, and that's actually in one of our support kits for you. But one of the most gorgeous human beings on the planet that I know, Karen Russo, has her MBA in finance from Columbia University. She wrote a best-selling book called The Money Keys, but coincidentally enough, she happens to also be a minister. So Reverend Karen Russo used to lead the congregation with Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith at Agape in Los Angeles, and we created an incredible session with her. So I could go on and actually explain all 30 sessions, but suffice to say, I think that it's absolutely unbelievable. But here's the best. Here's the best. Our actual technology and the offer that we've got for you to become a very special type of member means that you will actually be able to edit all of the sessions with your own images and your own personal goal statements and affirmations. You can literally personalize every single one of these sessions for yourself. And so that is the unbelievable part about our technology. We normally sell the ability for you to edit and personalize your own sessions for $400 all by itself. So I'm imagining that most people would think that that is actually, an enormously valuable offer, which it is, and that we would probably, best case scenario, offer it for, half price. But I know that most people who really, really need their lives to change usually aren't in the position to be investing, $500 to $1,000. So Kenyette and I have had this conversation about what we could actually offer to everybody listening, and you can feel free to offer this to your friends and your family members and your colleagues and anybody else you want to be able to access this special offer. And so we are actually doing the entire package for $97.
That is
and that,
amazing.
Seriously?
Yes. It is. Thank you so much for that, Kim. I mean, just addressing relationships, and it's addressing the weight. If you have issues with weight problems, it's addressing finances, happiness, overcoming negative belief patterns and systems in your mind. I just think that it's such a wonderful and all-inclusive product that you are offering, and we so much appreciate you doing that for our audience. Thank you so much for that.
That's my pleasure. And Kenyette, how can everybody who's listening, how can they access that?
Okay, so for those people who are on the call, you can just click the special offer button. But if you are listening by phone and you want to go to the website, it's https://mindpt, that's MindPT.com/LIVEYOURBLISSTODAY SOURCE =2761, or that's mindpt.com/LiveYourBlissToday $source =2761. But I think it would be a lot easier just to hit the special offer button. But Kim, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
And also, Kim, I know that. Did you want to add something else before we move to the next part?
I wanted to keep our promise and explain to people how they could actually access the gift. So if you'd like me to go through that, please do, but don't let me interrupt if there are people who have questions that we need to answer.
No, actually, I'm going to look through that right now. I did want, because this is usually the time where we go through the special offer and then also do the meditation or do what we were discussing, the MindPT session. And I was trying to figure out how we can do that on the call, but I think it'd be better if you just explain to the audience how they can access that so that they can see it after the call. I think that would be the best action right now.
Fantastic. All right. So what I would love for everybody to do, if they've got a pen and a piece of paper, is write down these instructions so that you really very clearly understand them. And then I also would love for you to feel free to share these instructions with anybody that you know, any of your family members or your friends or your colleagues or people in your church community or sporting teams or whatever, all right? So what I would love for you to do is download the MindPT app from either, Google Play or the iOS Apple App Store. So when you go and search, you're searching for Mind, MindPT, and MindPT is all one word, no spaces, MindPT, and you'll see my name, Kim Serafini. And interestingly enough, it's very easy and it's free to download. Now, when you download it and you open it, it's going to ask you to log in or register. You want to register. And when you register, you're creating an account for free, and you're putting in your name and your email address and your password, of course. And what's very important for you to do is actually notice that there is an area where you can enter a referral code. And the referral code that you need for Kenyette to really live your bliss is CHEERS, CHEERS, which is, of course, something that lots of Aussies, Australians, and those in the United Kingdom, the English say, cheers. So that is actually your referral code. Now, when you enter CHEERS in the referral code area, and you say, basically, you've created an account and you've actually put that session inside your library, inside your MindPT library. It's almost as if you've gone to a bookstore online and you've been able to buy an ebook and your ebook is now in your library, or you've gone to, say, audible.com and you've bought an audiobook and now the audiobook is in your library. This is a new type of accelerated learning resource, a MindPT session. And so inside your library, you're actually going to see Kenyette's beautiful session. It's very powerful. All of the positive psychology and the neuroscience is baked in. Now, you will also see that there are various other types of sessions that pop up for you that might inspire you. May I suggest that if you're interested in what you're seeing, then go to our website, mindpt.com, and you can log in there with the username and the password that you created through the app. And you'll be able to watch your session, and you'll be able to have a look around at the other kinds of sessions that are available in the shop. There are memberships, and the memberships are very affordable, but the only way for you to access that is through the account that you create via downloading the app, putting in your name and your email address and your password, and then CHEERS, CHEERS, in the referral code area. And then, of course, you can go back and you can press on the session and you can watch it. Now, what is really, 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 really important for you to know is that you can, after you've done that, go and actually join the MindPT World Challenge on Facebook. And if you're watching that session every day for 3 minutes a day as an absolute minimum, then you can be posting about your experiences and you can have some accountability partners who are going to be supporters and your cheer squad over there in the MindPT community on that Facebook page. But I would say, without a word of doubt, a feeling of uncertainty, if I put my hand on my heart, I can confidently assure you that the offer that we're making is absolutely an extraordinarily good value offer. If I was you, I would do anything I could possibly do to figure out how I could invest in this particular package. Click special offer. Make sure you take advantage of it. It is such a ridiculously low price and it is such extraordinary upside and benefits for you. But having said that, we really, 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 really want you to have the gift. And we want you to be able to go out there and tell anybody that you come across, hey, download MindPT, go and register, and put the referral code in. CHEERS. And now, having said that, some people actually, sorry, I interrupted.
I'm sorry, Kim, is it case sensitive, or it really probably is not, but it could just be
no, it's not.
It's not, okay.
No, it's not case sensitive. No, it's not case sensitive. And interestingly enough, lots of people have come back to us and told us that sometimes they didn't write the instructions down clearly or properly. And so what happens if you get inside the MindPT app? Then you do actually need to go to settings, and you need to be able to put the referral code in the settings area if you've actually missed it when you registered. So as soon as you download the app, you need to register, and then you need to put the referral code in, and that actually gives you the session as the gift. And I can tell you there's an extra little bonus. You'll get a session from me called Being Happier, and it is a very powerful session as well. And we are working with various different charities not-for-profits around the world, and one of them that we're working with at the moment is called the Encouragement Foundation. And so you will actually receive a third session from the Encouragement Foundation, which is a little piece that you might want to watch if you're needing a little bit of encouragement. But seriously, the sessions on finance and the sessions on relationships and the sessions on health are some of the most powerful lessons, the most powerful programs you will literally be able to access in this environment today anywhere on the internet. I would absolutely encourage you to take advantage of the offer.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Kim, again, so much for this. And I know that a lot of listeners will definitely be going to that. And I just would encourage you as well just to take advantage of that wonderful pricing set right now, because it's not available all the time at that price. You're getting it a wonderful, wonderful price. Well, Kim, before we end the call, I know we're at the end of the hour, did you want to just kind of give us some ending or closing words for of wisdom to leave us with?
Sure. Do you know, I think that one of the sets of affirmations, one of the activities that I actually do that has had the greatest impact, profound impact on my life is I do some very nice, slow, deep breaths. I close my eyes, and I actually literally do feel a divine healing energy or light surround me and move through my body. And I imagine that I almost have this aura around my body, like I become a balloon, a bubble, and my energy actually expands, and it expands out and it actually engulfs not only the suburb and the city and the region and the state and the country that I'm in, but also just keeps expanding. It's like a balloon that keeps expanding, and I engulf or I encompass the entire planet, and then I'm out there in the universe amongst all the stars, and all the cells in my body are like the stars in the universe, and we're all sparkling inside. And in that process, there's lots of healing going on, and I'm breathing very deeply and very smoothly and very slowly. And then I really feel these words: I am loved. I am loving, and I am love. I am loving. I am lovable. I am loved. I am love. I am loving. I am lovable. I am loved. I am love. And so I encourage us all to drop into our hearts and be love as we go out about our days, and certainly throughout our peaceful, restful sleep tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's such a wonderful mantra to go through. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being here with us today, Kim. We've really appreciated you being here.
Again, it's a real honor and a privilege and a pleasure, and I've absolutely appreciated the opportunity. Thank you, and thank you, everybody, for lending your energy and your time and your beautiful minds, and for being with us. Thank you.
That's right. I look forward to our next call together. You take care.
Much love.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone in our listening audience for taking time to listen in. You know, every day we are bombarded with negative images on television, on the internet, and many times in our conversations with loved ones. And much of it's called entertainment. Unfortunately, this news and this entertainment has adverse effects on our thinking, on our mindset, and ultimately on our lives. And to break free and truly embrace the mindset and life you are meant to live, you must be vigilant and make the decision that you are not what the world tells you, but a valuable and important person whose productive focus and gifts are exactly what the world needs right now. By tuning in with us each week and getting in a space to step into living the life you were designed to live, you are making a positive change. You are making the difference. So I encourage you to listen in each and every call and continue to get in the space of gratitude and possibilities, and join us next time on Live Your Bliss Today. Take care.